Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to explore the project folder architecture and what inside Xeneva boot image and the boot flow. Project is being divided into different folders, each one with different purpose. For instance, see the current directories of the project. You can see build directory, base header directory, boot and boot AA64 directory, kernel and kernel AA64 directory. Here, boot and boot AA64 are bootloader project, which loads the kernel and jumps to it. Boot is for x86-64 and boot AA64 is for ARM64 devices. Base header is for all the header files being used in kernel and driver development. Driver is for all the driver projects that Xeneva uses. For example, inside the driver folder, there is a USB folder. Inside that, you can see DWC2 OTG driver project. DWC is the USB controller used in a Raspberry Pi 0 to 3B+. Kernel is the kernel project for x86-64 and the kernel AA64 is for ARM64 architecture. Process directory contained all the background and foreground user processes. For example, Devdhai XR is the main window manager for Xeneva. Yet to evolve into 3D window management, but right now it supports only 2D surface. The most important directory for user space application is the lib directory. It contains the C library, Chitralekha graphics and UI library, and the runtime library. Okay, that's it. Let's go with the boot image. Xeneva uses GPT formatted FAT32 image or storage devices. The most important files required inside the boot partition is as follows. EFI directory. EFI directory is most important directory as UEFI firmware searches for this directory. Inside EFI directory, there are two most important directory, boot and Xeneva. Inside boot directory, boot AA64.efi or boot x64.efi are present. And inside Xeneva directory, xnkernel.exe is present, which is the main kernel file. And most importantly, initRD2.img should be present inside the root directory of the boot partition. initrd2.img is a FAT32 formatted disk image which holds all the necessary system files and directory to boot Xeneva. I will describe the most critical files inside initrd2.img in another video. Let's talk about boot flow. Xeneva has two types of boot mechanism, UEFI aware and non-UEFI aware. For UEFI based system, boot AA64.efi and boot x64.efi is used. And for non-UEFI system, it uses little boot protocol. When the bootloader is started, it searches for xnkernel.exe and initrd2.img. Once it found, it loads into memory and jumps to the kernel. Kernel mounts the FAT32 formatted initrd2.img and continues to boot. Important files inside init32.img that kernel finds are audrv.cnf, board.cnf, ftlist.cnf, i90.exe. Without these files, the kernel fails to boot. We'll discuss in detail about these files in upcoming videos.